All right, so let's talk about these theme trackers right here. So, when we finish Just Mercy, we are not going to take a test over the book. We are going to write a theme analysis essay. That is what we will be doing. So, in order to help make that essay easier when it comes time to write it, we are going to work on some theme trackers as we read. So, this is going to be an ongoing assignment. I will ask you to work on these after every chapter that we complete. So, this will be something that we do regularly, typically on Thursdays. There are several things attached here. Two of them are documents that you're going to be working in. One of them is an example of the document that you're going to be working in, and then one of them is a list of topics. So if you remember at the beginning of the semester, we worked on a theme statement practice. So what I had you do is you watched a Pixar short, and we came up with a list of topics. And then you took those topics and you found some evidence about them from the film. And then you took that evidence and you created a theme statement. And it is a statement that the author is making about life in general regarding that topic. So, what is the author saying about that topic in the text? We're going to be doing the same thing with Just Mercy, but it's a long text. So, we're going to need to look for a lot of evidence over the course of like 17 chapters. So, this document is here. The theme tracker document is here to help you keep track of that evidence. So the first thing that you'll do is you will choose 2 topics from this list, or you may come up with your own. These are just some things that the book deals with. But I'm having you choose 2 because I don't want you to commit to one topic right now. And then when we get to the end of the semester, you're like, oh, wait, I didn't find any evidence of that, or I don't really like what I found, or I don't really want to work with that one anymore. So you're going to work on 2 topics throughout the book so that you have a couple of options when we get to the end of the book. Okay, so we will be working with 2, but you will only write an essay about one of them. So that list is just a list of topics that you can choose from for each of your trackers. When you open up the tracker, here's what you're going to do. You're going to put your name, you're going to put your class period, and you're going to put the topic that this document is for. And then in these boxes, there aren't a lot there right now, but you can always add more with a 2-finger click on the trackpad. You can insert row below and add as many as you need. But what you're going to do is you're going to put the chapter and page number in this box here, and then you're going to list the example. So what is the evidence in this text about the topic that you chose? So if I put justice as my topic, maybe on page 7 in the introduction, he says something that really fits with the idea of justice. I'm going to put that here, and then this column is optional, but it's for your thoughts, so that when you get to the end of the book, you can look back and be like, okay, yeah, I remember what I was thinking and how this kind of fits in with the theme, because you may forget by the time we get to the end of the book. I want to stress something. This document is not for me. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time looking at your theme tracker. This is for you. You are doing future you a favor. So the more effort that you put into this document after every chapter, the less work you're going to have to do when it comes time to write the essay. So those of you who are procrastinators, I'm a procrastinator. I get it. You're going to have to overcome that, and you're really going to have to put effort into this. So just because this isn't due until April, until we finish the book, doesn't mean that you can put it off. You have got to put effort into it after every chapter so that when we get to the end of the book, you're not having to do the whole essay all at one time. You've done most of the work already. Okay? So you gather your evidence throughout the book, and then it ends with your theme statement. So remember, we don't come up with a theme statement until after we have finished the entire text. So after you finish the book, you will go back, you will look at your evidence, and you will develop a theme statement about that evidence. What is the author saying about your topic? So what is Bryan Stevenson saying about your topic based on all of the evidence that you found in the book? You will create a theme statement for both topics. So you'll create a theme statement for both theme trackers. You will then choose one of your theme statements and you will use that to write your essay. Okay. But you will come up with 2 theme statements. You'll choose one, and that will be the thesis of your essay. So there's 2 of those there because you're going to do 2 topics. They both look the same. There you go. The other thing that's here is an example theme tracker. So I did a theme tracker over one of my favorite short stories. Because I don't want to give you any hints about Just Mercy. I do want you to do your own. So this is not related to Just Mercy at all, but I just kind of want you to see what I'm looking for. So I've got the page numbers there. This is a short story, not a book, so there weren't any chapters. But I found quotes. Most of my evidence are direct quotes, but your evidence could be summaries. It could be descriptions. Right here, I've just got a description of something that happens a lot. So whatever it may be, you just want to help yourself remember what was I talking about. And then my notes and analysis here, like how do I think that fits into my topic? So just a general summary about this story. This is a story about a woman named Louisa. It's set in the late 1800s, I believe. 15 years before the story begins, Louisa and a man named Joe became engaged when they were very young. Joe did not have any money. So in order to go make his fortune, he went to Australia and just worked. And he ended up, it took him 15 years to make his fortune. So he was away in Australia for 15 years. Now, in those 15 years, Louisa, she was living with her mom and her brother. Well, in those 15 years, her mom passed away. Her brother either passed away or moved away. I can't remember which one, but they were gone. So she was living in her home on her own. She had been for several years. She had set the house up the way she wanted it to be. She kind of followed her own schedule. She didn't have to do anything she didn't want to do. She didn't have to talk to people she didn't want to talk to. So she really just made herself a life that she really enjoyed. And she did that for several years. So when Joe came back, she really wasn't excited to see him. And we also discover that he had actually fallen in love with somebody else. But they both felt like they had to keep the promise that they had made to each other 15 years before. So even though she no longer wanted to marry Joe, and it actually kind of stressed her out to have him around, she felt like she couldn't break that promise. So she was going to go through with the marriage. And even though Joe was in love with somebody else, he didn't think he could break the promise that he made to Louisa. So he was going to marry her even though he didn't love her anymore. And so they're both kind of in this place of, well, now I'm stuck. Well, eventually, she figures out that he's in love with someone else, and she gives him an out. And she's like, okay, you don't have to marry me anymore. I don't really want you to. So they both end up happy, but for a long time, it doesn't look like they're going to end up that way. So I took evidence of my topic, happiness and personal satisfaction. I found evidence of that throughout the story, and I came to a conclusion. So my theme statement is here at the bottom. Personal happiness isn't achieved by following society's expectations, but by creating a lifestyle that brings one pleasure and personal satisfaction. That will be my thesis statement when I go to write my essay. Yep, so I just wanted you to kind of see an example of a completed theme tracker, and this is just for a short story. I mean, this is a 22-page story as opposed to a 17-chapter book, so yours may be really long, but you're going to be working on it for several weeks, so I just wanted you to see that example. Also, a New England nun is where this tattoo came from. Some of you have asked, what it means. It's a symbol from this book. It's actually, I think, one of my entries on this theme statement. But yeah, I have a yellow canary tattoo because of the story. But there you go. There's an example of a theme tracker. So this assignment, we will be working on it every single time we finish a chapter on Thursdays. So that means today is a Thursday. You have just finished chapter 1. So you've done the introduction in chapter 1 at this point. Go ahead, pick your topics, start looking for evidence. So go back through the introduction in chapter 1, see if there's any evidence of the topics you have chosen, and put that evidence into your theme tracker, and you have already started working on the essay.